Okay, today is Saturday, March 30th. Basically, I got this fuel vent line installed, well, mostly installed. So that runs out the back of the trailing edge of the wing, and of course I still need to clamp that down, but I'm going to wait for the Pro Seal to harden before I do that. Here I bent it up slightly to get it a little bit higher because I probably mounted it a little on the low side. So on here, I just bent it up so it's level with the very top. In fact, I may even just slightly bend it down later on. I gave it a little bit. I just wanted to get it as close to the top as possible. So yeah, I'm just waiting for this to dry, and then I'll work on securing that up against the rib. So the whole reason I was working on this is because I couldn't do anything on the table while that's drying, so that will take the better part of 24 hours to be dry enough to work with. That's just a quick 2 coats, same as I did with the last one. I was hoping to get out here and do it earlier, but didn't happen. But once that's dry, I'll start cutting it up and start putting it up against the airplane.
Hey, I've just finished scuffing this and finding all the little bumps and whatnot just from the imperfect drying, or something fell into it while it was drying. Although this stuff dries so fast, this really isn't a whole lot of problem with that. And then this will get a coat of the blue. I don't really need to paint anything else. In fact, the top of this is probably just going to be all blue. I don't plan on doing anything fancy like that. So as soon as that's drying, I'm going to sand it down, and this will get a coat of paint. The whole objective of that is I want it painted before I put that on. So once I mix up the paint, I can also fix those little spots that had to be sanded down from where the paint leaked doing the inside between the rudder and the vertical stabilizer. So I got this the first coat of this top part painted. I'm not so worried about the stuff getting in it at this point, because it's going to get a fairly heavy sanding before I put on a second coat. So I also, because I had so much paint left over, I just went ahead and did the bottom one. I may or may not put a second coat on that right away. Just just didn't want to waste the paint. So this is the sheet that's the primer is fully dry now, and tomorrow I'll start cutting that out for the side. While I had enough paint, I also repainted the light blue on these. The blue will need to be given a fresh coat as well, but these will get 1 coat, possibly 2 coats. I don't know if it really needs a whole 2 extra coats, but if it does require it, I'll put another coat on these as well. I also took care of that spot that was that had gotten black paint on it. So I think I'm pretty happy with my color choice. That looks pretty sharp. So the only reason, and I can't remember if I mentioned it in a previous video, but the reason I'm painting this now is because that is going to be mounted on top of here right away, and it's a lot easier to get it painted now rather than brush it on right up close to where the vertical stabilizer is. So I figured it'd be a lot easier just to get it painted now. One thing I would mention is the drawings are really vague about how all that goes together. So it takes more time than it should, because you got to figure out what what's meant by the very vague descriptions that are given. It's not like, you know, put a rivet 0.5 inches from this edge or anything. It's just rivet it on and you know, bolt one side and rivet one side. There's no other instructions. You know, there's dimensions for all the pieces, but the instructions are really lacking. So it takes a little while to go through and figure everything out, which I guess is fine. But the instructions are pretty bad for this part, because you really got to figure out what you're doing. There's no there isn't a real clear description of, you know, where to rivet this. It's pretty obvious where you need to, but it doesn't actually say, which is kind of annoying. So I think that's the state of things. So this Pro Seal, like the other, or like the last time I used it, this is already almost has no tack to it. It is a little tacky, but it's taking nowhere near the amount of time that this took to dry. You know, this was a solid 2 weeks, but it was way colder. You know, it's in the 60s, 50s and 60s easily most days now. So that is almost dried. It's a little spongy. It's going to take at least a couple more days to be done, but it's already like very firm. Before I clamp them on, I want to make sure that where this goes is fine. Like if it needs to go through something, and again, the drawings aren't real clear exactly where that's supposed to be, so I want to make sure that's in a place where it can be adjusted if necessary. So it just needs to be lashed up against this rib. So I think that's it for tonight. Okay, today is Monday, April 1st, 2024. So when I painted the edge there, you can't see it anymore, but when I painted the edge there to fix those little black spots, the new paint is just slightly darker. And to be perfectly honest, I actually like this color a little bit better. There's not a ton of difference, but it's just a little bluer, I think. It's just there's a very slight difference, but anyway, this paint is the dark, the blueness, or the deeper color. It was way too noticeable. You could see where I painted over where I sanded the black part off. So I just repainted very lightly over this. Of course, I had to prep it again, but it wasn't really that big of a deal. Just to go ahead and paint over it. And I did find some imperfections that I fixed, so it's a little bit smoother and glossier than it was before. So hopefully this turns out great. I don't expect it not to. It'll actually be a little bit nicer than it was. So I really don't have any worries, and I like the color better anyway. And you know, if I were to set it on there, of course this is wet. But if I were to set it on there, like there was too much of a difference between the colors, like, and the only thing I can guess, I don't blame it on Total Boat. I blame it on me probably not stirring that small can, because I used probably over half of it, and then it sat for a while, and I probably didn't stir everything really well. This can, I stirred the snot out of it, and that's a full gallon there. So I stirred the snot out of it to make sure everything was perfectly even. So you know, both this and this are perfectly color matched, and it gave me an opportunity to fix a couple small defects that I didn't bother with before. So I think it's win-win. Of course, I got to paint the other side as well, but it really isn't that difficult at all. Of course, I got a temporary hut over this. I'm not super worried as long as nobody's moving around in here, and 90% of the time I'm the only person in here. So you know, there's the only dust that really occurs is coming down from the ceiling. This stuff dries fast enough, especially in this warmer you know, 60-degree weather, 60+ degree weather, it dries fast enough that there's not a whole lot of chance for anything to fall into it anyway. So I just don't want shit falling from the from the ceiling into the paint. That's the biggest problem. If you look under here where it never had any barrier, there's absolutely nothing in the paint because there's no way for it to get up in there. So that underside looks great. It does need another coat, but I'm not going to do it tonight. Okay, today is April 2nd, Tuesday, 2024. So all I really had time to do today was flip that over and paint the other side. That goes pretty quick. I think the real trick is getting the right proportion of thinner, and 1 to 10, at least at this temperature, around 55, 60, really goes on nicely, and there's almost no orange peel. There was a little bit before, and some of the stuff that was there before will probably show a little bit. I did sand it down, but it was mainly just to take some of the bumps out that I didn't bother fixing before, so it's a fair bit smoother now. I didn't take all the orange peel, but there wasn't really a lot anyway. But there's probably some underlying orange peel that'll still show through on that, but I'm not concerned about that. But it does go on a lot better when it's warmer with far less thinner. You don't have to keep going over it and over and over it as it's setting up like I had to when it was cooler. You know, it was still 50 degrees inside of the hut that I had, but I was probably dipping below that at times, especially when it was really cold. So this, on the other hand, never had any previous coats, and it just went on so nice. I mean, can you see some orange peel in there? A little bit, but it's so minor. And from 10 feet away, you can't even see it. It looks really nice. I like this color. So on the phone, so I'm looking at it with my Mark II eyeball, and I have the phone next to me. So the actual color is a little greener than it's showing on the phone. It has a very It basically matches the color that's on the website. It doesn't look as blue on the in the camera, or sorry, it looks more blue in the camera than it really is. So I actually like this deeper color. It's just a little bit, I would say it's just a little bit darker. It's probably not even as greener than the other one. I mean, it's greener than it shows on the phone, but in real life, it's not that green. It's just I think it's just a deeper color, maybe like darker. It's hard to explain. It just looks a little bit better, and I think that was completely my fault for not for using part of the can and letting the dye settle to the bottom and not stirring it correctly, because this color looks nicer, and I'm glad I kind of had to redo this one. It's not that big a deal to redo, just a little bit of sanding and scuffing and applying a thin coat over top. So it looks better, and I like the color better. So win-win-win. I just a little bit of extra work, and the other side's already done, and it's dry enough that I could set it on the other side. Those over there are done. I need to put the blue paint on them, but I'm not going to do it tonight. You know, actually I might. But anyway, those are ready to go. They've been repainted, and they look great. So there's nothing to do on those. So I started looking into mounting these. I didn't think about the mounting system. So these are Centroid fuel senders. And I do think they have a model that screws in, you know, there, but the model that I got has holes around the periphery.
So I ordered some AN3-20A bolts to go through there. They might be a tad long. Like, those bolts are arriving tomorrow, so I will probably get busy doing that. I think that's it for tonight. Okay, today is Thursday, April 4th, so didn't do a whole lot today. Just came out for a couple hours later in the day. This turned out really nice. It's a lot smoother than it used to be, so I'm happy about that. There was a couple spots that that were a little light, right near where the two paint colors meet. So I touched those up, so that will dry overnight. I was actually planning on putting it up on the back tonight, but I'm gonna wait until that paint is dry. Cause the only other thing I did tonight was get this blue part painted over. So I think that's it for tonight. Okay, today is Friday, April 5th, 2024. So I just finished filling this with foam after getting that mounted. I also adjusted that counterweight slightly for it to fit better inside that cap. So the cap is very kind of flush with the, not flush, but there's about a gap of about 1/8 of an inch or so between the cap and the rudder, giving it, you know, free clearance to swing back and forth. So I'm just putting foam in the areas where that cap isn't. So far it looks really good. I'm not, I don't really have any issues at all. It's just, it fit on there as planned. You know, it took a long time to get everything adjusted. I guess the biggest thing was I had to cut a little bit more off of the tip there, because it kind of went like that, like the end of it was kind of like that. So I just removed some of that so it would sit as flat as possible. So this is done. Of course, there's going to be a shroud. Now, if you look at my hanger, but if you look at my hanger buddy's plane, that that shroud that comes up to the to his vertical stabilizer is pretty much the same idea. It's just this one's probably a little bit bigger and nicer, of course. So you know, it'll you know, come up. Yeah, if you've seen pictures of the BD-4, you know what it looks like. So I probably won't be working on that for a little while. The next step is just getting it mounted on there and doing a couple little touch-ups in the paint where it got scratched from moving around and stuff. So, but as far as being mounted on there, that's forever. That's unless I need to take it off for some weird reason, it's staying there forever. That was the whole point of painting this first, well ahead of actually getting the whole thing skinned, was so I wouldn't have to worry about painting around that. So these are dry. I haven't taken the tape off yet. I'll probably do that before I leave. And I got the bolts. So I got these bolts are for this guy, so they will go through the rib and this, so this will mount like that, and then this part here will go through the hole, and then it'll all get sealed, of course. But just because of the way these are mounted, I had to get those bolts. So might be a little overkill putting 5 in there, but I'll probably just do the all 5 and just fill all the holes. So that is a small job that I need to do, but it's gonna have to wait till tomorrow. I think that's it for today. I had to order the clamps. I could not find anybody locally that has 3/8 clamps, so I just ordered some online. and they should be here tomorrow, and I'll get that clamped down. So I think that is it for today. Okay, today is April 6th, 2024. So the foam has finished curing. It doesn't actually take that long to cure, about 24 hours max. So I just put a light fiberglass coating over the, or fiberglass putty, it's not fiberglass, over the foam, just to give it a rigid exterior. Okay, quick update. So I've got the aluminum sheet clamped to the side somewhat precariously. So that is, I've just marked the edge with a little bit of a margin all the way to the end there. I couldn't get the marker all the way in there, but I can use a straight edge because you know, past here it's completely straight, so I can just follow the straight edge all the way out. So this was the only clamp. I got all the big clamps out that I had, and this was the only one that would hold it. So I'm just getting ready to cut this. I got to measure the underside, and then get busy with the saw. Okay, so I've got this cut out close to the right size. It still needs to be trimmed a little bit. So I guess the most difficult part was actually getting that cut out for the bracket that holds the claw for the stabilator, because it's really difficult to clamp anything back there. Once it's cut to size, a regular like screw type clamp works fine, but initially it was kind of difficult. So anyway, so I've got the trace outs for where this needs to be trimmed to, but I'm just going to leave it there for tonight and come back tomorrow and start working on it. Today is Sunday, April 7th. So what I've gotten done so far is wiring for the wingtip lights and the landing lights. So I got wire that was well above the current rating that I'll need. So this one here is the position light, and there's a separate line here for the sync, so that the wingtip strobes blink in sync with each other. And these here are the lines for both landing lights. So this is where the lights will be mounted here, and this is the ground, and then these are the two wires for each independent light. So I'm going to have them switched independently, so it'll sort of be like a taxi light and a landing light, and those will just be switched in the cockpit. So I think that's it for the wing right now. So the cable clamps that I ordered finally arrived. So I got one clamp on there, and I think that's pretty much enough, because it's so stiff that it's not going to move. So I just put the one clamp near the end, and I think that's all I'm going to do for that. So the last little job I got done before leaving was just getting that repainted. I sanded it down a little bit from all the working with it, and got all the scratches down to level. So it actually looks a lot nicer than it did before, because there were some drip marks and stuff that weren't done real well, and those were all sanded down smooth and got a fresh coat. So that will look a little bit better than it did before, and just made a little hut for that to dry in. After about an hour, nothing's going to stick in it, but I just wanted something over top of it. I took this off, and it's marked on the other side. It's pretty much the same markings that I made before I roughed it out, but I just wanted to make sure, so I put it back on. Made sure that the markings are correct, and there's also markings on that side for the edge of this, because it was much easier to do it from that side, obviously. So I'm probably going to be mounting a beacon somewhere in here. It kind of makes probably the most sense to just put it as far back as I can, and I'll be putting another one probably back here somewhere. I don't think I'm going to mount it on here. I probably want to mount it as far forward as I can. I can put the beacon in afterwards, so I don't really care about the top one. It's the bottom one that'll be a lot easier to put in if this is open. So I purchased a set of Whalen microburst 3 position lights that have kind of everything built in, like the strobe and the rear white light. So that's the reason for the sync line here. So both the position lights can flash together in sync. Here I'll be using a custom setup with LED headlamps, and I'm going to be building a support here. I don't want to do anything until I have the headlamps in my hands. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to be building a form to form the acrylic. So there will be acrylic shield a little bit smaller in here, and there will be an offset, so the acrylic is the exact same depth as the skin. So the acrylic will sit here, and then the mounts will be here, offset enough so that the acrylic sits flat. I'm going to get stuff that's thick enough so I can get use countersunk screws through the acrylic, and they'll be driven into nut plates back here. So that's the wiring that's waiting for those. I probably won't get to that for a couple weeks, because they're arriving sometime this coming week, and then the following week I'm going to be on a business trip. So if I do get anything done, it'll just be designing the support brace, and of course this will all be painted. I haven't decided exactly yet, but this is probably going to be all painted black, and then just you'll just see the headlamps behind the acrylic sheet that's formed exactly the same shape as the wing. So the acrylic doesn't go on till much later, because obviously you need to get the skins on and then decide exactly where that cut needs to go in the skin. But I need to get all the framework set up in here to hold them before I put the skins on, because that would just absolutely suck trying to do it afterwards, if it would even be possible. So yeah, I probably won't get a whole lot of progress on that until for another couple weeks. Okay, today is Monday, April 8th, 2024. So the right hand side rear empennage panel is trimmed to size, and one side is painted white like the others. So this will take a day to dry, and then I will get back to clecoing it on, and then work on the other side. The other side is a little more complicated because it has an access panel that has to be cut into it, so that takes a little more time. The other little thing that I got done, sort of, I realized, because I quickly painted that before I left yesterday, and there's a couple spots that I missed. I'm not going to bother finishing it now, and that's just up there to make sure that it fit properly and everything is where it needs to be, and it is. So I just need to figure out the best way of securing that before I make it permanent. So right now it's just sitting on there, it's not secured with anything. On the frame, the rivets go here, 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 and here. And those are just best estimates. I think this one is 2 inches in, this one's 2 inches in, and then this one over here is 3 inches in, just to clear all the gussets. So that one and that one there. This is the left-hand side skin, and that will go on as soon as I have time. I have a business trip coming up, so I don't know if that's going to get done before I leave. So I'm just going to make a quick video here before I go ahead and glue this on. So I think the easiest thing to do is the same thing that I did for the bottom and top, is just you know, lay it down a section at a time. Of course, this one's sideways, so what I did was used one of those stands that I had for the temporary paint booth, and because they're pretty flimsy, I should have gotten way sturdier ones, but this will work. I just got a bungee cord attached to something heavy, so it'll hold that while I'm gluing it, and then I can you know, I can scoot this forward as I'm you know, laying it down, and should work exactly the same way as the top and bottom did. I'm probably not going to get to the right hand side one, or the left hand side one, I mean. I just don't have time. It's you know, it's roughly the right size, but it needs to be completely trimmed. It's just basically the leftover from cutting the other one out. So I got this on. It went on pretty much as I expected it to. So I basically did from about here all the way. I think I got to here, and then I put it down, and then got it to here, laid it down again, and then did come back a little bit. So went there, glue, there, glue, and then finally clamped everything down. So I think that's about the right way to do it, because the glue stays tacky for quite a while, but I probably wouldn't be comfortable waiting any longer than it took to get the glue on there. For those sections, I'd say 10-ish minutes, maybe a little less. It seems like it's a lot longer than that, but it's probably about 10 minutes to get the glue on all the you know, the angles and everything. So that worked out really well. Just, you know, curl it over, glue it, tack it down, glue it over, tack it down. So I've got a couple clamps on here. I kind of wish I had 2 more of these big ones for the bottom. So as I've been working, I've just been you know, pressing this and making sure that it's up against the metal very firmly, and it's not moving anymore. So unfortunately, I just I didn't think ahead and get some more of those, but I don't think I'm going to need them. This started setting pretty well. The only flex is right in between there where the metal is actually passed. So the only thing that's left to do, of course I'm going to do the other one first, is do a final trim on these, just to make sure, just to be sure that they're completely even. You can see that's very close, but it's not perfect. So I will
I'll do a final join with epoxy and then sand that down to a rounded curve, very slightly rounded, but it'll be rounded. And then once all four corners, or all four sides, or I guess all two sides, because this gets overlapped. I don't care what this looks like, the edge here, because it's going to overlap. But and you can see I've got a little bit to trim on the side here. It's a little bit off. So that's what it looks like on the inside. So I took a photo earlier. If I need to do maintenance in there, it's pretty easy to see in there. So this is just a little Olight flashlight, but you can see, you know, it would be super easy to work in there, even if you're just looking through a maintenance panel. This here, what I'm going to do is take a bunch of detailed measurements before I leave tonight and build a platform. I have the lights now, and I think what I'm going to do, my 3D printer is big enough that I can print a holder for this, and see how that works, and go from there. But that's a little bit of a project, so I need to trace one of these to get the right shape and everything, and then take some measurements and figure out, you know, how far back and all that stuff that I need to make it. But once I have the measurement, the shape of these, and the measurements and everything, I should be able. That should be enough information that I can build the rest in a CAD program and 3D print it. Okay, today is Saturday, April 13th. So all I've really gotten done so far is just epoxying that seam between the two panels on the top and bottom. Of course, I haven't gotten the other side cut out at all yet. When I get back, I'm going to round that out. Okay, today is Saturday, April 20th, 2024. So this wasn't just a good idea. This was a great idea. This, you know, there's still a little bit of sanding that I need to do, but this seam is just flawless. Like, it just butts up again. It looks like it's just one solid piece. It just that tiny little crack filled with epoxy just perfectly rounded that out. And of course, maybe the camera can't fully kind of show what how well that worked, but like when this is completely sanded and reprimed in a couple places and then painted over, it is just going to look like absolute one solid piece, kind of like you know, the folded steel on the Cybertruck. It really looks good. Okay, this is completely sanded now, so this top part is fantastic. There's nothing to do. It just needs to be cleaned and reprimed. So this one worked out really well. There's just nothing left to do. It's just perfect as it is. This side worked out well, but I think I just did it in a little bit of a hurry, and because it's so difficult, I missed a couple. But I missed a couple spots along the bottom edge there, so I just need to put that in and let it dry overnight, and I'm gonna get at some other stuff while I'm waiting for that. Okay, so I've got all of the bottom part that wasn't filled in. It was actually quite a bit more than I thought. I think it was just I didn't see well enough where the actual seam was, and I put a lot more on the side than I did the bottom, and so I basically put a lot of epoxy where it wasn't necessary. But this is all done now, and I'll come back tomorrow after it's dry to finish sanding it. So on this side, I just got it clamped down, and I'm going to call it a night.
The only thing I really need to do is trace it exactly on the frame, and then cut it to the final size. I just cut enough out that I could get it on. And, you know, I cut a little jagged hole there for this so it would lay flat. Yeah, it's just a matter of tracing it out. So that's what the inside looks like, except for the one side that isn't painted white, obviously. Okay, today is Sunday, April 21st. So I got all of the epoxy, the stuff that I had to redo, sanded back down, the stuff that I finished yesterday. So everything there and on the bottom is sanded down. I don't know how well the camera captures that, but so both sides of this are done. I've taken that side back off. So this is the tracing, if the camera will focus. So this is the tracing along the frame. It's kind of hard to see, but that's what I did with the other one. I just traced along the frame with it in place. So you can see there's a fair bit that comes off of here, because this was originally straight, obviously. So that is that's what I'm going to be working on right now, is trimming this and then attaching it back on, and probably doing some final tweaks to the trimming. So I found that going a little bit at a time, I was able to get the gap between where they meet as small as possible. Like, it's really like a 1/16 of an inch. Maybe that's a little anal retentive, but I wanted to get the actual metal as close to each other as possible. So that worked out really well here. Like, you can, well, I mean, you probably can't see unless you were able to feel it. But this junction here, it looks like folded metal because it's so perfectly, the seam is so perfect. And that's what I'm trying to do on the other side. It's just a little extra work to get it, you know, perfect. But I think it's worth it. Okay, I got this one trimmed to about roughly a 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less, within the actual size. That's pretty much what I did with the other one. I just want to be absolute sure, you know, when I just want to be absolutely sure after I cut it. Like, this one here is probably like almost the right size. So, you know, it just needs to be fitted and trimmed, fitted and trimmed, fitted and trimmed, just so I can get that seam as small as possible and to make it look as good as that other side. So now that this is fitted, I'm going to trace it again. Okay, I'm done for the night. So this is completely trimmed, exactly to size, just like the other one. And I just primed it, so it'll be dry when I get back to it, which may not be for a couple days. Depends on how busy I get with work and stuff at home. So the only other thing that needs to be done with this one is, you know, about somewhere in there, I need to cut the access panels and make the flange that goes in behind them with the nut plates, so you can get in there to maintain the stuff at the back. Okay, today is Wednesday, April 24th, 2024. So this is all cut out and trimmed and painted on the inside. So I've got the Clecos on there now. That trace, and you can ignore the fuzzy one. That was a mistake. So that's where the cross members are. So I'm actually thinking of, instead of the plans call for a circle about here-ish, maybe about there. I think what I might do, because this is an inch in from the angles that make up the frame. So I'm kind of thinking that I'll just make a larger triangular one. Probably I need to figure out exactly how much smaller than the frame I want to make it, but it'll probably be easier to put together as straight lines rather than getting a giant hole saw. So I'm thinking probably cut a triangular access panel here-ish and do it that way, because I mean it doesn't really matter what shape it is, and the straighter lines are easier to cut, and I can just get a very fine wheel on the Dremel and just cut a nice perfect edge on that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to mount a rear facing camera, but I'm not going to try mounting it back there, so I don't really need to run any other wiring back there except for the beacon. So I think that the better option is to mount the camera somewhere up here, you know, at a very, very high point, however, you know, far back I can get it, so I can get as much of the rear of the plane. It's just for situational awareness. It doesn't help anything. It's just, you know, if I want to be able to see behind the plane, I can, because there are, I believe there's 3 or 4 inputs on the EFIS. So I know for sure I'm going to be having a front-facing camera, but I also wanted to have a rear-facing camera. I don't think I'm going to bother with the sides. That's just kind of a little bit overkill, but front and back would be actually helpful. Okay, so that's what the empennage looks like with everything on it now. So probably should have used a flashlight with a little bit wider beam, but I'm kind of glad I went with the white. It wasn't super necessary because the primer is pretty light colored, but it is very easy to see in back there. So if I ever need to get back in there, and God forbid if I have to you know, access anything in there because it's worn out or busted or whatever, it's not impossible to see what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how all this turned out. So the only thing left is to finish this, and then do the same epoxy treatment on these seams as I did the other side. So when I do this one, I will take a little extra care to make sure the epoxy is there's no missing spots, because the other side I had to almost do the whole thing again. Not the whole thing, but half of it. So that caused a bit of a delay in being able to completely finish it. So this time I'll make sure that I have the time to actually get those seams perfectly done. And the epoxy is dry rock hard within a day, so within 24 hours. So I can put it on and then come back around the same time the next day and start sanding it. And the sanding is pretty laborious. The epoxy is extremely hard, so it's a good thing, but it also takes a while to sand everything down perfectly smooth. But it does create just a perfect seam on the edge. There's no metal overlap or anything. It's just a nice. It looks like like it was formed and then put on. So it really looks good. You can see how much crap falls from the ceiling in here. This is probably 2 weeks of dust, and it's just filthy. My neighbor next door used to use bed sheets to cover his plane because there's so much crap that falls down from the ceiling. So yeah, a lot of stuff to do, but some of it can be done in parallel, and at least it looks like I'm actually making some progress. There's all the stuff that's left is kind of big stuff. So I think that's it for tonight. Come back out tonight to to get the access panel done. So what I did was I made it quite a bit larger than what's prescribed. So I'm just going to reinforce this edge, basically the same as the drawing, just different shape. So I think it's probably a lot easier to get in there now. And so the original cutout I made smaller, and then put it up there. I'm like, I'd really like to, you know, I got giant basketball hands, so I wanted to have you know, a fairly big opening there without getting crazy. And I think that's probably as big as I can get, and that's about 1 inch from every support angle. So I think that's going to work perfect. So I'm going to take this off and get the flanges done. The hole is done, big wow. But so I also got this flange. So this flange is going to go kind of over top like that, but on the inside, and then it'll be riveted on one side and have nut plates on the underside of this piece here, and they'll screw onto the plate that goes on there. All I have left to do, and it's just getting later, so I didn't finish it, but I just need to cut out the middle of that to make the flange, and then that will get riveted onto here. And this is thin enough that it can easily be countersunk. So not countersunk, but divoted for the so the rivets you know, lay smooth. So it's just a matter of cutting that hole out and riveting it to the back there, and then putting the nut plates on the overlap, and cutting this piece out for the actual cover plate. So this whole menagerie here is what that was waiting on. So as soon as this is done and I've got the beacon mounted and all the wiring run and all of the same stuff that I did here to make this nice seam on the two sides of this one, then it can be painted and that part put on. So it is kind of weird to be painting it kind of piecemeal like that, but it's just because there's moving parts in front of stuff, and it's virtually impossible to paint that with the stabilator on there, especially with all the fancy stripes and stuff. So it's just a matter of finishing that plate and getting the beacon installed on the bottom there and run the cable, and then it's ready to seal up. So it's starting to look a lot like at least the rear of a plane. Okay, today is Friday, April 28th, 2024. So I printed this bracket out in PLA, and like a dummy, I had, because my print bed isn't big enough to print this whole thing in one piece, I had what I thought was going to work out great with pegs and holes on the other side, and I put the holes in the wrong place. So I just had to sand down the pegs and just tape it together. It's just for fitment anyway, so it's not that big a deal. So but the design worked out perfect. So what I did, I don't have it on me. So what I did was I just put a piece of cardboard on here and traced the edge, and then duplicated that in the CAD software. So there'll basically be 3 holes holding this in place on each side, and you can see right here. So this has a little bit of a flattened edge to it because I just approximated the edge with small rectangles. So what I really need to do is go in and fine tune that so they're all so it's a little bit rounder to match the rib. But especially for this side here, you're not going to see because the skin will be over top of it, and they'll be covered in Pro Seal. But this edge here probably needs to be a little bit rounder. But the intent is to form a piece of plexiglass
over top of that, so it'll match the wing. And of course, this will actually be black polycarbonate. This piece that I made for fitment is just I had a full spool of white PLA, so I printed it in that. That is what the landing lights are going to look like, and there'll be, you know, acrylic over top of it. So I think that worked out really well. The very first print I made matches the ribs perfectly, so there's really nothing to do. I just need to go back in the design, make these a little bit rounder, and do the holes and pegs properly. Of course, there's going to be a steel an aluminum back plate behind this as well to keep it perfectly stiff. And you know, because it's in two pieces, it just needs to be joined with something a little bit sturdier than just pegs and holes. So I think that's going to work out really well. This inside one is going to be the landing light, and then or the taxi light, I mean, and then both of these will act as the landing light. And the circuit breaker that I got from MGL has a built-in wig-wag. So the landing lights can wig-wag in the day for landing, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so I've got this all drilled and dimpled, the flange that goes underneath. So I'm going to take this off and prime it, and then I'll put the nut plates on tomorrow or whenever I get back to it. So the cover plate will be cut out of the same thickness as this, the 0.016. So the flange is 0.020. It's a little bit thicker. So once this is primed, I can get the nut plates on and match to the cover plate, and dimpled similarly for the small screws that hold it on. I want to double check all of this while I have the side off, and it's super easy to get in here. Make sure everything is actually dialed in. So yeah, I think it's just making sure this is all adjusted, and I think it already is, but I just want to double check. And getting the beacon in here and the wiring before I close this up, because once those seals, well, once it's glued on, it's there forever, and then doubly so when those seams are sealed, because it's almost like it's one piece and it's just not coming off ever. So want to get as much done inside of there before the only way to get in there is an access panel. Or from the front. So I highly doubt you can climb on this. You could get in there, but you'd probably have to put some sort of reinforcement under there in order to crawl through there. So I'm just going to remove all of these clecos and then get it primed and head home, and hopefully get this completely done tomorrow. Okay, today is Saturday, April 27th, 2024. So I've just got a power supply on these two lights. I just wanted to check and make sure that they weren't causing any radio interference. Somebody had mentioned that was a possibility with these cheaper lights. So I can report that if you get the antenna like right in front of the light with the squelch turned down, yeah, there is a little bit of an interference, but I don't think it's extreme enough, because this is on the very extreme end of the wing, and I don't think it's going to cause any problems. I really had to force it, like get the antenna like right in front of them before they would cause any problems, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. Of course, I just tested with a, I don't have it here, so I just tested with a portable radio. I should probably do a full test with the actual radios and the actual antennas, but I don't expect it to be an issue. They don't radiate much energy past just a couple feet. Like I literally had to have the antenna like right here before it would start squawking from the noise. So I'm hoping that that means that that they're okay. And there was another mention of the type of material. Because aluminum and this is PLA, but aluminum and carbon fiber could possibly cause galvanic corrosion. Because they're both conductive materials. I'm going to be using, it's actually a blended polycarbonate. Polycarbonate doesn't have this, doesn't have any carbon fiber in it, and it doesn't react with aluminum, and it's a blend. It doesn't quite have quite as high of a glassing temperature, but it's so high that it doesn't matter. It's like 235 degrees or something crazy like that. If it ever gets that hot in there, I've got a lot a lot worse problems. So I've ordered the polycarbonate filament, and I'll be printing that one out soon. So the only modifications I made are like this one I screwed up, so it's just taped together, but the one that I make for real will have pegs on one side and holes on the other, and it will have an aluminum back plate. So this has been on for 15 minutes or so, and they're cold. That doesn't really mean anything, because they could be running for 3 hours. But like just feeling around the frame, like they're not even warm. They're not, let alone hot. They're not even warm. And these have the same lumen output and wattage that the comparable ones that you get like off I think they were AeroSun that I was looking at. They're comparable to those, both in wattage and lumens. So the only other test I need to make is on a really dark day, turn these lights out and just see exactly how well they point. Move this down and see where the beam is going, just to make sure that they're completely effective. I don't expect to have any issues, but you never know. So that's the story on those. On this, I haven't finished it yet. I just started getting some of the nut plates in the back of the flange. So it's just a matter of finishing them. That's a really tedious thing to do, because you have to dimple right here where the rivets are, and then put the rivets in, and then make sure your holes and everything are centered properly. So I finally remembered to bring the beacons out here. So that's the flange for the two beacons, and this is the beacon itself. So I'm going to be putting one of these back there, and the other one will go up here somewhere. So I've got those. I didn't have a chance to run any wiring. It's just getting late and I want to go home. So that'll be part of the job tomorrow. One thing I forgot to do was actually take the protective covers off the lenses. So that's what they actually look like. The video I made previously still had them on. So yeah, these look pretty sharp. I'm not unhappy at all about how these look, and I think they're just going to be really a nice, tidy solution that doesn't cost an outrageous amount of money for what is essentially the exact same thing. Okay, today is Sunday, April 28th, 2024. So I got this access panel flange done with all the nut plates put on it. I screwed up when I made the plate and got the holes in the wrong place, and I don't have a piece of 0.016 large enough to redo it. So I'm just going to leave that access panel open for now and order a sheet of 1x1 isn't quite big enough because it made the hole quite big. So I'm going to have to order a 2x2 sheet and redo it properly. So next item up is getting the beacon put in that I'm going to go do right now.
Okay, I wanted to get this completely wired, but it's just getting late, and I want to go home and get something to eat. So that is the wire with some protective sheathing coming through a hole for that, and then I've just got a power supply hooked up to it right now. So those extra wires, one of them is for sync, and can't remember what the other one's for, but one of them is a sync wire, but I'll be running all four of those to the front, and just in a spool similar to what's over there. So it's just a matter of running the wire over to the front. I just ran out of time, so I'm and there's some screws that there's two screws that go through the that, and there's also there's a fairing that goes over top of it to make it nice and aerodynamic. So just a matter of putting all that stuff together. I just ran out of time, so I guess that's it for today. Okay, today is Monday, April 29th. So I just hooked up the power supply there to confirm that my wiring works and I've got the right bundle. So mentioned last time I wasn't sure what the blue wire was for. The yellow wire is the sync wire, and the blue wire is pattern select. And you just touch that to ground for a couple seconds and it changes the flash pattern. I believe the default pattern is the one that you want, but I'll double check that. And when you change the pattern and turn the power off, it does remember what pattern you chose, but I don't think I'm going to bother changing it because I think that's the right pattern anyway. It might be a little fast. I'll cycle through them once just to check. So I am going to run that pattern select wire up to the panel. So if I ever, for whatever reason, want to change it, I can without getting back there and changing anything. So this is really all I got done. I got the wires twisted and bundled and run into that protective black stuff, that corrugated stuff, and I need to run to Home Depot and get a whole bunch more of it because I know I'm going to need it, even though this is the actual back of the cabin. So the back of the cabin actually goes all the way back here, so the back seat is around here-ish, and then there's a little bit of cargo. But I'm not putting the back seat in at all. The frame for the seat isn't structural, so I'm the whole time I've been flying, I've taken more than one person, I think once, besides the dog. So I'm for the one time in 100 that I'm going to bring more than one person, I'll figure that out then. But I'd rather have a giant cargo area because this is ultimately going to be a cross-country machine, and I want a big cargo area. So all that to say, this is where my cargo area ends. So I've got a very large cargo area, and I don't want to run anything. I'm just going to leave it rolled up past here, just so I can, once I get more of the skinning done and the back of this in and all that stuff, I'm going. Then I'll have a better idea. And when the floor is in, I'll have a much better idea. Okay, where do I want to hide the cables? All that stuff. But for now, I'm just going to leave it in these looms until I'm ready to actually do something. The only thing I really have left to do on there is put the shroud and the screws on. So I'm going to do that and then call it a night. Okay, so today is Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. So all I really got done tonight, I just came in after work. So I've got this thing mounted. I'm going to turn the power supply off. So
that is one of two beacons, if I can get it to focus. So there is a gasket in there, and I had to modify it a little bit in order to for it to sit flush. But it wasn't a big deal. I just had to cut out a little bit of the middle, just so it would seal and be up flush up against the thing. Otherwise, it never would have sat right up against the metal. So on this side, there is shrink tubing all the way up to the collar, basically where the wires go into, and it's waterproof anyway. So there's a waterproof LED housing with a waterproof gasket, or at least water resistant gasket over that, and then on this side there is a shrink tubing up to the to where the wires go into the sealed LED, and then I put silicone around the holes. So it doesn't really need to be that watertight, but you know, if you can, you might as well. So I just put a little bit of clear silicone around the hole just to seal it up, and that's metal tape over top of the shrink tubing. So I've got the wires that are leading to it all soldered on and protected with shrink tubing, and then electrical tape over that, and I might put some metal tape over that just so it stays on, because the metal tape basically lasts forever. It doesn't peel over time like electrical tape does. So securing this, I haven't done them. I just ran out of time. So I'm going to put one here, one here, and it basically needs to be something that sticks out this way. That's why it's on these. So that will be mounted there-ish, and of course I'll need to put some protective tape around there where it goes in through the hole in the gussets. So. Okay, today is Friday, May 3rd, 2024. So I got the new small sheet of metal and remade this, and fits like a glove. There's a bit of a gap right there, but I can deal with that with some epoxy to make the lines perfectly nice and straight and crisp. So other than that, it fits really well. So I need to take it off and prime it, and then I'll get to probably get to doing some of the stuff in behind here before I have to put this whole panel on for real, for permanent. So yeah, that's the plan. So I got a bunch of avionics and stuff set up on a table in my basement. So all those boxes are stuff that needs to have cables made for it and everything. So I'll be doing that over the next month or two, however long it takes to make all those cables. Both communication and RF cables and antenna cables and all that stuff. So what I did tonight was finish the labeling on the switch panels. So I've got two 6-gang panels. They're just sitting on top of each other because that's right now they're just all wired together just so I can test them. That's the way they come from the factory. So I just get the power supply hooked up to both of them. They're not controlling anything, obviously. So what I did was I took I used clear laser printer friendly sticker sheets, the ones that are clear, and then whatever you print on them, whatever isn't printed on is transparent. And then I the sticky part, I just put in this strontium aluminate powder, and then glued them to the lens here on the switch. And what that accomplishes, it's basically two things. One of them
is it acts as a bit of a diffuser, because if you look at the switch without any modification, and the phone even kind of adjusts for it, but it's kind of like a sparkly looking effect, and it's really bright. The phone is kind of compensating as well. Like I think at night it would be annoyingly bright. So with that stuff, it accomplishes two things. It acts as a diffuser, and it also, when it's exposed to, it reacts to regular light as well, but ultraviolet light, it like supercharges it, and the glow lasts a really long time, like hours and hours. So I thought that was kind of an added bonus. I mean, that was the real reason I used it, was for the glow, but it also works as a good diffuser, and the lights aren't so just annoyingly bright. The main thing was just getting all these the switches labeled. Of course, there's 3 left over, and I'm sure there's something that I'm missing, but the ones that I absolutely knew for sure, you know, master, beacon, strobe, nav, taxi, landing. I've got 2 lights in the wings. One is going to be for taxi, and then both of them on for landing. So one switch for the cabin lighting, switch for all of the avionics, and then a switch for the iPad, and that'll control the cooler that sits in as well. Okay, today is Saturday, May 4th. So this access panel is primed now. So the reason this one is out is because I noticed when I put the screw in, it just causes that to flex out a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is shave this a little bit closer, and then fill the gap in with a small amount of epoxy, and just sand it over. And I kind of wanted to do that because this didn't quite line up anyway, just to make it a little straighter, so there's no gap. The rest of it's fine. So I think I'm just going to shave this corner off, because you know, what I'm afraid of is in the wind, it's actually going to catch it and start bending it this way. So if it's a little bit closer to the hole, it won't do that. So that's the task for now. So this is the form for the plexiglass that goes up on the in front of the lights for the landing lights for the wing. So this was 3D printed. It took a long time. That's a lot of plastic. So I had to print it in 2 pieces. So this side has a large peg, and this one has a large square-shaped hole, and they just, you know, I just fit them together. So I just epoxied it. I didn't have any large clamps at home, or I would have done it at home. But so those will take a day for the epoxy to cure, and then there'll be one solid piece. So the plexiglass itself is only going to be about that big, maybe a little less. I think I made this 12 inches. So and it's 11.1. So you know, it's about there. So when I get the plexiglass, I will heat it up and then form it around this. This form is the same. It's just an extrusion of the edges of the frame that I don't have here. It will be the exact right size, so when the plexiglass is mounted on it, it will be the exact level as the skin on the wing. So I've switched over to working on the wing again. So this is the one of the senders, and looks like the bolts that I ordered are a little on the long side. So I've got 3 washers on that side and 2 on this side. It's not structural, so it's just a little ugly, but it doesn't matter. I've got a gajillion of those thick washers, so they'll work. I just got one of those on to see how many washers I'll have to use to take up the space, and then just got to do the rest of them. Didn't have any issues. Okay, I'm going to call it a night, even though I'm kind of half in the middle of this. So I got the fuel sender installed, and I just put an anchor point for the wires coming out of it, or a stress relief anchor, just for the wires coming out of it. This may need to be taped to another protector. I don't know yet, but I left enough out that it's, you know, more than past the wing root, so I can trim it to size to whatever I need. So things are coming along. Okay, today is Sunday, May 5th, 2024. So I never got around to getting this drilled and riveted, so it's basically like I left it yesterday. I got busy finishing off all of the fuel line stuff. I didn't even finish the fuel line stuff, but I got close. So the fuel sender is in there and bent properly, and the fuel line, just the adapter is in there. This is the the fuel line. It needs to be bent on the end here as well, but I didn't get that far. Just finishing this off. There is no line on this one. I believe there's either no line at all, or it's just a short piece that goes kind of to the center. It's just the fuel return. So this side will get I'll have to have this will have to be flared and put on the rest of that hardware there. So that's about all there is to it. It's just a little bit messy work because I got a Pro Seal. Anytime something goes through one of the ribs for the tank, I got to put Pro Seal around it. And acetone is your friend with that stuff. When you're done messing with it, it gets it just completely just dissolves everything, and it's really easy to clean up. Without it, your hands are a sticky mess, but yeah, it works really well. Just wipe your hands off afterwards because it's pretty nasty stuff. So this is pretty much done. Well, it is done. So this is done. I got the edges where I put it was like right here-ish, just cleaning up, making sure it was nice and even and everything, and I gave it I cleaned it up around that area and gave it another shot of primer. So that is just sitting there waiting to dry. The only thing I really did in here was cleaned up all the mess that was left in there, and tools and crap that was just laying in here. And I may get my wife to do it because she's got smaller arms and hands than I do, but I should be able to get in there and adjust those. So that's where all the fiddly bits are. The this is siliconed in permanently. There's nothing to do. That's just a strain relief, and you know, this is just secured along the edge over to here on this front. So I got all of the electrical stuff for the wing finished. Really all it had to do was be put in protective sleeves. If I can get in there. So there's protective plastic sheathing around that. So this is ready to be hooked up to the lights. I am printing the frame for this as we speak out of polycarbonate. I got all the indentations and everything that are necessary. I'll show it when I have the actual printout in my hot little hands, where all the nuts get secured and everything. So this is done. So this is just a giant end of the wing shaped block that I can use to form the plexiglass. Okay, today is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. So this is the final version of the frame printed in polycarbonate. So
This one has all of the insets for the nuts that will receive the machine screws that go through the plexiglass. So there's 3/16 on the ends and then number 6 in the middle, because I had to make the middle ones a little bit smaller. So this turned out really well, and all of the nuts that I need fit nicely in there. Just to give you an example, so the nuts will just sit in there like that. I'm not going to put them in yet because I'm waiting for this to the epoxy to finish curing in that before I do anything else. So this guy here is a cutout that obviously I use this as a stencil, and this is just going to sit on the back just to give it a little bit extra strength and to hold the two pieces together nicely. And there's a couple of not a couple, a whole bunch. So there's screws here, 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 and here, and they're all inset, so it doesn't matter if they're under the flange. So this flange will fit, and I had to, because I wanted to keep this at 4 inches. So that entailed having to trim some of this edge out, and the plexiglass will actually sit on this frame right here where there's no lip, but you know, the plexiglass will have a lot of purchase on these two, and then the ones on the end. So I think this is going to work out pretty well. Once I get it all put together, I'll know for sure. But so this is exactly 11.1 inches, which is the distance you know, between those two guys. And I haven't wired anything there. I want to get some custom waterproof connectors to put on both sides on the frame and this here. So if I ever do have to take them out, it's not difficult. It'll just slide right out. You know, something similar to like a tow hitch connector or something like that. Something that's completely waterproof. That's pretty much all I got done tonight. These all fit in here nicely. They actually, there's a bit of a lip under there. I don't know, maybe I can get the camera under there. So there's actually a lip, and this one here I actually had to the only thing that I missed was and you know, you can't even see it. I had to grind out a little bit on the corners here. On the other one, when I make the other one, when I print it out, I'll just you know, take those corners out so I don't have to shave them down, because when I put this in, it fit, but it was really tight, and I want a little bit of just a little bit of movement so I can, you know, get them perfectly straight and everything when I bolt them in. So and the nice thing about these two is they give you a stencil that's exact same as the flange, so you can just put the stencil on where you want it to go and drill your holes. And I don't need to do the plexiglass that goes over that's the form for it. So I'm not going to do that right away. I just want to get this into the wing, because the plexiglass can be put on anytime, because it will sit flush with the skin. But yeah, I'm happy with how this turned out, and I just got to wait for the epoxy to dry, and then I can start actually putting it in the plane and connecting up all the electrical and everything. So that will be a lot of fun. Okay, today is Saturday, May 11th. So this went together a lot faster than I thought it would. I have some stuff waiting for me at home to finish this with, so I can actually mount it on there now. So I'm gonna run home and get all that stuff. I also need to after I put this back plate on, of course the paint is gonna get all scratched up, and I knew that. So I just sanded it down, and the paint, the black paint that I have is the pressure nozzle is just way too high. So I'm gonna get some El Cheapo paint just to paint the back of that. It doesn't need to be painted. Everything is already primed, but I just like to paint it black like everything else.
And the entire inside of that one bay is going to be black as well. So I still need the paint for that anyway. So I also have a bunch of electrical tools that I need to bring from home that I didn't bring because I thought this was going to take longer. So I'm going to run go get that and then put the rest of this together. One thing that I completely forgot to document yesterday, I just kind of got my stuff together and left. I got this part done for the wing. So I had to flare the end of this one. It's inside of there, and then it's got a collar and a nut that goes over top of it, and this goes inside of the bowl. The picture in the drawings has a lot of little holes drilled in this, so I might just go ahead and do that. You know, the first inch or so has a bunch of holes drilled into it, which kind of makes sense. So I might go ahead and do that before I seal everything up. So I got this this final frame all completed. The only thing that's left to do is I just use this this hardware just to kind of get everything put on, and then I'll take this off. I'm going to use the thicker washers as well as the same nuts that you use for everything else. This is all drilled now and ready to put the lights in. The one mistake I made, I have to put the lights in before I put the bolts in, because the flange kind of snaps past this and then falls into that little crevice there. So I'll have to take these two bolts off to put the light on and then put them back on. And that was kind of why I just used this hardware rather than the ones that grip onto the threads. So this is ready to go. It was actually pretty easy to do. I don't know if I can. So on the back here, I had painted it, but number one, I kind of waited. I didn't wait long enough for the the paint to completely dry, and you know, using the clamps and stuff on it, I wrecked the paint. But in a way, it's kind of a good thing. I just sanded it down, and then I'm going to paint everything flat black on the inside of here. It probably isn't necessary, but just in case, you know, you can see anything past any cracks or whatever, if it's black, it'll completely hide it. So all I have left to do here is just take these bolts off and put the lights on. And so I got a crap ton of connectors, and I got some waterproof I wouldn't call them quick disconnect, but they're disconnectable, and they're waterproof. So those will be both on the taxi landing and the strobes and the nav lights. So the nice thing about these is there's 4 conductors, so there's enough conductors to do both the lamp and then another 4 conductor one for the strobes, because there's you know, there's the nav lights, the strobe light, and ground, and the sync light. So, or the sync cable. So the sync cable goes all the way back and then connects to the other wing. So the other thing I got was a bunch of different sized RF ferrite cores, just on the off chance that there is any noise coming back down the power cables from the lights. I wanted to put ferrite cores on the wires. So okay, today is Sunday, May 12th, 2024. So I haven't done anything with these yet. I just brought them out to kind of gauge where I wanted to put the 2 comms antennas. So this is the completed frame with the back on it. Everything is painted matte black. The polycarbonate doesn't really need paint on it because it has pretty good UV resistance, but I had to paint the back of it anyway, so I just went ahead and painted the inside as well. So that's all flat black, and I think it looks pretty sharp. So of course the hardware isn't in there. You can see the holes for the nuts. Once the paint's dry, I'll epoxy the nuts in there, and then they'll be permanent. So over here, the inside of this bay is painted flat black, same as the frame, and that's it's already dry to the touch, but it'll take another 24 hours or so to be completely dry. I got the electrical all hooked up. I got these nice these waterproof quick disconnect cable connectors. So, and I put a ferrite core over the cables, just in case there's any static coming back through the power lines from the lights. I tested the lights, both of them on with a radio, like a portable radio, and I had to basically get right next to it with the squelch turned way down before I would get any radio interference. So I'm not super worried about it, but they will be in a metal cage with a ferrite core over the power lines, and the interference by the time it gets all the way to the end of the wing is going to be pretty minor. I know that it can reflect out this way, but again, I had the radio like right here, and I walked towards it with the squelch turned way down, and then getting closer and closer, and about here-ish, it finally picked up some interference. So they do put out a little bit of static in the in that spectrum of in that radio spectrum, but it's so minor that I'm not worried about it. So that's all ready to hook up. I'm basically waiting for paint to dry. This is the other end of the lights. That's the other end of the waterproof connector. So the grounds are connected together. The blue isn't connected to anything, and the green is the taxi light. So I will be doing some testing of that when I get back. I'm not going to do it right now, but I fully expect everything to work fine. So the other thing I should mention, so I got the lights in place and marked where the holes need to be. So the easiest thing I found to do was just take an awl and find the center point of, like, put the lights in, then find the center point of where it should be, and just give it a couple taps with a hammer to give it a pilot, pilot indentation, because the plastic deforms with an awl pretty easily. So after I punched it with an awl, I just took a smaller drill bit, like a really long one, so get past these things here. So I just use a really long drill bit to make a pilot hole straight through, and then drill them out completely with a proper size bit for the bolts that go in there, and it looks really nice. It looks really sharp once everything is in there. Wish I could show it off right now, but I'm waiting for paint to dry, so it'll have to wait until I get back. And in case I forgot to document this, so this is just being held on with Clecos right now. I gave this another shot of primer with it on, so I could get in between everything. So this is ready for paint. It just needs to, when this goes on, I will also use some epoxy to even up that that cutout for this, just like I did on the other one. So that goes pretty easily, and it's easily sandable, so it's just a matter of doing it. Like the other one, I will be filling that crack with epoxy and then sanding it to a rounded edge, and it really looks nice. It really looks like somebody just folded a box onto it. So I'm looking forward to getting that done when I get back, getting the antennas on. So I heard back from the wings and wheels guy, and the mount is shipping the third week of this month. So it should be a week or two. You should be here within a week or two of me getting back from from my next business trip. So I'm really looking forward to getting that put on and finally getting that engine out of the box and start hooking things up. The other project is going to be cleaning up this mess that that I made doing various tasks. So this is the fuel line. This is the bowl that the fuel line goes into. So this mounts right on the skin, and you know there will probably be some slight adjustment of the length of that and whatnot. Maybe not. I got it really close. So that's how that is going to fit in there, and then of course there's a drain plug that goes in the bottom of that. So yeah, things are looking up. As soon as I get this tacked on, I can start building the clamps for the putting the skins on, and we're off to the races. The wing is done. So I'm hoping by sometime next month to actually have this wing installed on the side there where that apron is sitting. So really looking forward to having the motor and one of the wings installed. Still looking around at support options, but I'll figure something out. I have some supports at home, but they're not really practical for holding up the wing. I'll figure something out. Okay, today is Friday, May 17th. Just got back from business trip and figured I'd come out here for at least a couple hours and try and at least get this finished. I might get just some other stuff before I leave. So this is all mounted now. These are permanently screwed in. All of the real hardware is on, and the waterproof connectors that I got are all hooked up, and I got a couple of twist ties in there, just kind of keeping it bundled together. So yeah, that's about it. All the paint and everything is dry, and this looks fantastic. The tricky part will be you know, cutting the skin exactly where it needs to be, but I'm pretty confident that that's not going to be super hard. The wattage and the lumen output of these is very similar to actually it's exactly the same as the Aero Sun, and there's two of them. So I expect this to be pretty bright. It'll be interesting to especially when both wings are on, to turn those on at night and see how well it illuminates everything. So that's about all there is to it. I have just a power supply hooked up to it right now, just, you know, clipped onto the leads there. So you can see it's pulling just over 2 amps at 12 volts. So do the math, and I think it ends up being 36 or 39 watts. I can't remember. But yeah, it's totally within what was expected, so super happy. And they're bright as hell, and the install looks great. So on this front, so I did some more investigation, and I think the antennas are far better placed back here. I'm not going to put anything back here. The ELT antenna and the two comms antennas that are sitting here will go up here. Of course, the comms will go side by side. Oh, I forgot to turn that off. The comms will go side by side. Yeah, the ELT antenna will go somewhere in the middle, probably more towards the back. So I'm not gonna put anything more in here. Okay, I thought I'd real quick go over like why this is designed the way it is. So I just finished epoxying in all of the nuts. This just turned out really nice. Of course, I spent a ridiculous amount of time designing the thing, and I'm not the fastest 3D modeler in the world. So if you use the STL files that I'll eventually make available, you have to put these in first, because these bolt heads will, and you know, unless you use different bolts, but these AN3 bolts, and I believe these are 17s and these are 22s. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what they are. This
these need to go in before you put these in, because otherwise they'll be in the way. And that's the whole point of this square section, is so you can get one side in and then lay it down. There's just enough of a hole there that it can slide in. And it actually, the design that I have, like once it gets down to here, you actually have to kind of snap it in, and then it's like super secure. And of course, same for the other side. Both sides are mirror images of each other. The bolts in those lights are the ones that came with them. There's a lock washer and flat washer on the back there. You can probably see there. So all these bolts, all of these here are they're all Loctited, so they don't come off. Everything else is done with nylon nuts, except for these ones here and here, and you can see I didn't finish putting that one on. So that is the whole saga with that. The way it's connected is just it's the same company that makes these. I got these connectors, these waterproof connectors. So if one of these ever fails, it's pretty easy to get in there and remove them. The only difficult part will be getting back in there and getting that, holding onto that nut and screwing them out. But other than that, they are removable. The expected life is 50,000 hours, which probably means forever, but you never know. If it ever does need to come out, it's reasonably easily removable. So I think that is it for now.
Okay, today is Saturday, May 18th, 2024. So finally got this side on. Decided that I didn't really need to put anything else in as far back as this. So and I think I recorded another video that the antennas are going to go up here. So the only thing that needed to go back there was the beacon, and that's the line, the power cables coming down and clamped up against the frame. So that's the only thing going back there is what you see. So the cable for the trim, the stabilator control, and the wires for the beacon. So there's actually 3 wires for the beacon, because it also has a sync wire that will hook up to the one that's probably going to go either close to here or up here somewhere as well, with the antennas. So the beacons flash in sync with each other. This glue dries very fast. I could probably take all the clamps off now, but I'm just going to wait till tomorrow. The sides are basically just press fit. I had them clamped along the top and bottom as I was going along, but now that the glue is set up against the metal, I don't need to keep the clamps there. I just wanted this one to be tight up against the frame with all the clamps. So that is very difficult to clamp it unless you've got a whole bunch of those big furniture style clamps. The only reason those are back there is it's holding the tail. It's just holding the metal firmly up against that metal frame piece right there, because this will get filled in with epoxy and make it nice and smooth like the other one. So that's about it. That's all there is to it, and that glue makes the job very easy, because it after about 10 minutes or so, it gets very tacky, and you basically just press it along, and it holds very firm once it's there. A little bit of pressure for about 10 or 15 minutes, and you basically don't need any clamps because it's so it holds so firmly. So whatever 3M did, their chemical magic, it's neoprene. What is it called? Neoprene contact adhesive 10. Don't ask me what the 10 means, but that's the magic glue that's holding that together, along with 4 rivets, one there, one over there, and one on the top, and exactly the same as the other side. So that is what it looks like on the inside. Not that that really matters, but that's what it looks like when it's all closed up. Now, before I put the skin on, I do have to do the small bit of clamping that back part on, and that will need to be trimmed, and this will have to be fitted properly. But so it's not as simple as just putting 1, 2, 3, 4 the skins on. There's still a little bit more to do, but once those clamps are done, I'll be ready to do those, because this job here is nothing. It's just drilling and riveting, and trimming the lines and stuff like that. So this is coming along. The wing is going to be on there very soon. Okay, today is Monday, May 20th, 2024. So I got the first layer of epoxy sanded down nicely, and as expected, there was a few low spots. So this is the second coat. This is not epoxy. This is fiberglass putty, which is significantly easier to sand. So it'll basically fill in all of the low spots. This area here also needs to be puttied before I head out. It's got a few low spots in it. So once I get that done, I'm going to take off. I haven't done the bottom yet at all, or this around here. I don't think this is going to need any filler, because it's a little on the thick side. It was kind of unavoidable, just because you got to go around that thing. But everything is working out as planned. I used a hardener with the putty that takes a little bit longer to harden, so so it would stay easily smoothable as I'm running along the edge, and I put it on pretty thick. Most of that almost all of it will get sanded off, but that way I'll know exactly where all the low spots are. And I don't think there's many. This time went a little better than the last time. I didn't put it on anywhere near as thick as the other side, and I was a little more careful about getting it on the edges, because you can see on the side that's where I had to sand everything off, and I don't think it's quite as extreme as the other side that I did. Maybe it is, I don't know. So it's just that little bit to do, and then I'm done for tonight. I might come out tomorrow and finish the rest of this, but for tonight, that's it. Okay, today is Friday, May 24th. So I got all of this completed and sanded down and touched up. So there's nothing left to do on that side. There was a few spots on that side that I found that have also been touched up and sanded smooth. Same with the bottom side here, which is a giant pain in the ass. If you've got one of those twisty things, I don't know how you'd mount it on this fuselage, but if you have one of those twisty things, man, that would be super handy. It would have to be huge though. So anyway, this is basically ready for primer. I just need to finish sanding that bit. That stuff doesn't take very long to dry, so I'll be doing that later today. And that little corner there needed a little bit of extra filler, so waiting for that. I think that's already dry actually. I'll give it a few 15-20 minutes to completely cure, and then sand that smooth. There was just a little kind of it doesn't matter because I think it's covered anyway, but there's just a tiny little pit at the end there that I wanted to fill in. and this underneath is epoxy, and I just put this over to smooth out the kind of bumps and little pits and stuff. Again, that's not super necessary. I just wanted to make it nice and flush. So this guy, I put just a layer of aluminum foil just as a heat barrier for when I think I'm getting the acrylic piece on Wednesday. Today's Friday, so it'll be a while. I don't know why there was such a delay in shipping, because it should have been here today, but I don't really need it. So that will be just kind of a heat barrier, because the deforming temperature of the acrylic is higher than the deforming temperature of that PLA. But for the short time that it's on there, I really don't think it's going to be a problem. Okay, so the sanding of this side and the finish of the two or the couple missed spots on the other side are all sanded down and primed now. So as expected, there because there's so much more contrast now with the primer on there, the camera probably can't pick it up, but there's quite a few spots along the bottom there that have pits in them, so those need to be filled in. And there's a couple on the other side, not very many, nowhere near as many as this bottom piece, but I did see a few when I finished priming that other side. So I think what I'm going to do is fill those in. This primer will probably be dry enough in the next 15 minutes, so I'm going to put I'm just going to use the filler putty for those spots along the bottom, and a few on the other side that I still missed. I think they're all on the bottom, but there might be one or two on the top, and there's some unevenness in the sanding where I didn't quite get the sanding of all of the epoxy on the bottom completely smooth. So there's a few places, pretty much everywhere. The other side is better than this side, but there's a few places everywhere that need to be sanded down smooth. So, but everything looks pretty good once those few little spots are fixed, and the pits and stuff are filled in on this side, and the few on that side, on the other side. This is done, and I can start painting it. But for the short term, I've got to get some putty in there. Okay, this is completely done. Just waiting for the primer to completely dry. So I'm going to call it a night. So the bottom and top and the underside, you can get that in there, are completely done. This side is completely done. There's a few touch-ups that are also drying, but everything's sanded down and primed. So this side is drying as well. So once that is done, it's just a matter of doing a light sanding on the top there, and completely painting this part of the fuselage. Okay, today is Saturday, May 25th, 2024. So I got a little temporary booth set up, and the first coat of paint all around everything. So I'm gonna put at least 3 coats, very thin coats, on here. That seems to work best with this paint. Everything just kind of went on nicely, no issues. I did find a couple places that need to be slightly smoothed out, where I didn't get all of the epoxy ridges smoothed out. It's just like 1 or 2 places. It's not a big deal. So after this dries, this takes about 16 hours to dry at this temperature. It's about 80 degrees right now, and it dries significantly faster than at 50 degrees. So it's already probably close to dry to touch, and it's been about, I don't know, half an hour or so. So that's pretty much all I got done. So I don't know if it really matters at this point, but that's what it's going to look like. Obviously, it's very thin, so the color isn't super saturated yet, but gives you kind of an idea of what it's going to look like. Okay, today is Monday, May 26th, and I guess you can't really see a whole lot through the plastic, but that is the first coat that has been sanded down with 400 grit, and there was a couple of spots along this side that I noticed still hadn't been filled in there, and then I put some putty on the rivets. So once this is dry, this takes only about 15 minutes, not even, to dry. So as soon as that's ready, I'm going to sand those down and then put the next coat on. Okay, all the little patches are done. All the filling in of the countersunk rivets is done. You can just barely see them, which is pretty cool. All four sides are done. It's just a matter of waiting for this to dry again. So I'm going to call it a day and come back tomorrow and put the third coat on. I don't believe I'm going to do a fourth. I think 3 coats will cover it. 2 is actually covering it, but once it's dry, it'll probably still be obvious that it needs a third coat. But yeah, it's really coming along, and the paint just looks really good. So super happy about this, and super happy to finally get this part completed so I can put the stabilator back on. So I guess that's it for today. Okay, today is Monday, May 27th, 2024. So I'm leaving that fan on, even though the sound probably isn't the greatest, just because it's a little warm in here. I don't want to suffer through it while I'm making video. This is the last coat. Everything went on great. There were no imperfections, and I'm just waiting for it to dry. It's tacky right now, so I don't want to fart around with the little hut that I made. But tomorrow I'll be able to take it off. The whole reason for painting that this early in the game to begin with was so I can put that on, as well as the leading edge extensions. So the appearance of doneness will change significantly as soon as I can get that on. Okay, this isn't very well backlit, but you kind of get the idea. There's just a flashlight behind there right now. This is, I think, my solution for backlighting all of the indicators and groups and stuff on the panel. There's not going to be a lot. It's mostly these switches, but there's going to be a separate switch for the ELT and a few other things. And it'd just be cool to have backlit surrounds for everything, and labeling and all that. So this is 0.05 inches thick, so it's very thin. So this is printed in solid fill. In other words, there's no like hash marks or anything in between the top and bottom layers. It's just solid plastic. The reason I did that was for the diffuser, which is glow in the dark, kind of bluish color. The camera doesn't really pick it up real well, but it's kind of a bluish color. So I'll probably either end up making this thicker, or if it makes more sense to mount it on aluminum, I'll do that. There will be a plexiglass cover over it, a very thin plexiglass cover, so it may not even need the metal, but I'll for sure make at least the surround backing out of a little bit thicker aluminum, kind of like I did with the landing lights, the landing light frames. So yeah, this was kind of a fun thing to work on. This is actually maybe the second or third iteration, but this worked really well, and I think I'm going to go with that. Okay, today is Friday, May 31st. I actually came out here yesterday to make a video of the of this finished tail section, and for whatever reason the video, I don't know, something got off on the camera lens or what, but it was almost unwatchable. So I figured I'll delay publishing this for one more day and come out here and kind of video this properly, because this is kind of the end goal of a lot of the work since the last video. So this is completely done. It's completely painted. Next project is wiping that down because it's covered in dust, the stabilator, and getting it mounted on there along with the leading edge extensions. The next job with this guy, and I need to bring some cardboard out here just so I can get a perfect measure of the cut for the plexiglass that I'm going to be putting on here. So that form is waiting for that, and this is the plexiglass that finally arrived. Obviously that's a little bit overkill, but I wanted some extra, both for possible mistakes and because I got to make two of them. But obviously even with that there's going to be some leftover, but I figured err on the side of too much, because this wasn't available locally. So I had to order it. Usually the Home Depot has a really good selection of stuff like that, but for whatever reason I couldn't get any, so or I couldn't get any at my local store, so I had to order it, and it took a long time to get here for some reason. So yeah, this is the final product of all of the empennage work. So the next big thing is doing the wings. I'm not going to be doing any more skinning probably until the wings are done, unless I have time in between. So I think that is it for this video. Thanks for watching.